degrees turned, but as you all know, she's in Florida, so I managed to get Bill Surrey from town here. Bill's pretty active in the community. As many as you know, he belongs to the Alberta Athletic Association. He's one of the directors, and he's also the manager of the hall there. He looks after all the bookings and makes sure everything's all cleaned up and whatever needs to be taken care of. He's also the director of the Salmon Festival, one of the directors. He's also involved in the Fall Fair. He's the director of the Bulldogs, the Alberta Bulldogs. He's one of their directors. And he's also involved with the show and shine that happens at Westwood every year. But I'm here to introduce Bill. As you all heard, the Thunder in the Valley is going to be happening in August, and I thought it'd be an opportune time to invite Bill Surrey, who is the president of the association. He's been president for the last, I believe, 13 years. They have 60 members in their association, so they're pretty active, and they meet on a regular basis. So, as you all heard, the Thunder in the Valley is going to be within the city limits this year, and maybe Bill can just tell us a little bit about the history of the Thunder in the Valley and talk a little bit about what's going to be happening this August. So Bill Surrey.
Thank you. As you saw on your way in, there's mega work going on Stamp Avenue. Some people are happy that it's happening, and I'll duck the glasses that are flying. I think this is, if anybody that doesn't know what a drag race is, 2 cars. They get out, they line up out there, and we have what we call a Christmas tree in the middle. And it starts out with amber lights, and it goes all the way down to a green light. They leave on the green light. If they leave too soon, they get a red one. And it's all bracket racing, as they call it, because you run on Saturday to get your time of what your car is going to do. And then that's put into the computer. So if you run at 6 seconds and the other person ran at 8, they get a head start. The computer's all set up that way, and you race to the other end. There's some originally done, we did it trying to get the racing on the streets off the streets. So this year is kind of unique. We call it street legal because it is on Stamp Avenue. But the whole program was put together trying to get the young people off the streets and tearing up the streets. We still have a problem, not necessarily drag racers, but people want to do donuts out there and all this kind of stuff. We've been on them trying to get them to give up some of their time and come and help us. Volunteer with us, see what it takes to put this event on. Thunder in the Valley to the Alberta Valley is a huge, huge economic hit. In 2008, between 2 and 2.5 million in economic spin-off. Today, it's probably closer to 3, maybe even more. This year will be one of the biggest years, we think, in the history of, which is our 16th year this year. And we think it's going to be the biggest year ever because it is in town. It's bringing people that wouldn't normally be able to get to the airport or want to sit in the screaming hot heat out at the airport, except for last year. We don't want to talk about last year. But the airport's about 10 degrees hotter than it is in town. now people sort of scratch their head and say, well, geez, it says on the weather report. But we're not sure where they get the weather from, but it is, we've had as high as, in the last 15 years that we ran out there, we've had it as high as 45 degrees. And that makes the pavement very, very hot. And we have to watch the temperatures for the cars and everything else. So people like coming and running here because we're at sea level. The airport's actually 250 feet above sea level, which is pretty darn good. Because if you ran, for example, in the interior, where you're 4,000 or 4,800 feet, cars run totally different. The whole week of Thunder in the Valley, Friday night we start out in the Harbor Key with a show and shine. We've had a draw anywhere up to about 4,000 people throughout the evening going through there. And the businesses just love it because it brings all kinds of dollars to them in that area. This year's a little bit different logistically on Stamp Avenue. We have Catalyst paper on board 100%. And I will show you on the maps here shortly. If it wasn't for the city of Port Alberni and Catalyst paper, this event would not have gone this year. Because we had been terminated at the airport because of airport expansion. And we hope that the airport expansion will be a great addition to the city, but we're hoping also is that we will be able to run there sometime in the future. So the difference being between the airport and the city streets, this is an 1/8 mile on Stamp Avenue. At the airport we run a 1/4 mile. There's not a lot of 1/4 mile tracks left, but a lot of people just love to do it, and so they keep on doing it. A lot of guys changed their cars around this year to run the 1/8 mile. We put a cap on it. We say, okay, if you ran 9 seconds, actually 9:05, which computes out to 5.8 seconds in the 1/8 mile, that is the cap. You can't run any faster than that. Because insurance issues, safety issues, we want everybody to have a safe, fun weekend. And we certainly don't want to see anybody out here hurt or any equipment of any kind damaged. So safety and setup has just been a huge, huge job. And we hope that it brings a lot of people for extended stays into the Alberni Valley. We will be running from just north of the railway tracks at the other end is our burn-up box, which you saw if you came that way today. They were grinding out in the middle of pavement. That will become concrete because we don't want to tear up the pavement with the burnouts, because the burnouts will just burn right through the pavement. The start line will start about 70 feet in front of that burnout box and will head north toward the Barclay here, and it will finish about 100 feet or 150 feet before the steel tower, hydro tower, which we have to worry about. So we are putting up containers and everything to stop barriers all on the sidewalk side to protect telephone poles, barriers, fire hydrants, etc. they all have to be protected. So our safety end of it is a huge, huge concern. We approximately have to have 1,400 feet of cement barriers from one end to the other. We have 3,000 feet of fencing that will be going in. And this is just to prevent people from running out in the middle of two cars coming down there. Because we have had emails sent to us, which I turned over to the RCMP, where people want to run out in front and get hit by a car, so we have to shut it down. Not a smart way to get my attention anyway. So we have to protect against all these little things that are up there. And I know in my mind, there's not 100% of the people that are going to be for what we're doing. But what we're doing is trying to do economically good things for the community, as well as things like getting some of these young drivers off the street, creating their problem in the middle of the night, having accidents, things like that. We always try to bring them in and say, hey, you know, we don't want you to do that in the street. That's just really not the way you do things. And they sort of laugh at it. So we try to put them to work. We try to teach them what it takes to become one of these racers and why you shouldn't be doing it in the street. And we think we have done quite a bit of that over the 15 years that we've been running. And we get some of them now that love coming here, and they've learned a lot from us. And not just from the executive or anything, but from all the racers that come here. We had a high of 311 cars one year at the airport, which was a nightmare. Way too many, because you can't get them through. You run too late. If you have a breakdown or somebody blows an engine and puts oil all over, that all takes time to clean up. So we set class limits, and this year right now we have about 160 cars registered to race. We also have what they call junior dragsters, and they look just like a dragster you see on TV, but they have a Briggs & Stratton lawnmower engine in them or things like that, and they're kids from the age of 6 to 17. We have in our program, one of the young girls is 8 years old. She's done a bio in our magazine, so when the magazine comes out, which should be within about 10 days, I think, Teresa, you will be able to read about the three kids that we have already racing in the junior dragster part. Also this year, we're showcasing women in racing, because we have quite a few that started out right here in the Alberta Valley, and in Port McNeill, they run at the airport there as well. And there's some of the women up there that got into racing, and they're loving it. So we got bios from them, and they will be in the program this year. One lady came out last year, and she will race this year. She's not in the middle of her operation, but she has bad knees, and Tina Heath here, if any of you know her. She just raced a little PT Cruiser last year, and she had so much fun. She sent us a letter after she was finished, and you know, she just can't get over it. She wants to come back this year, but she's geared up for an operation, so she may not be able to make it. But it's all there. We're trying to make it a family event with the kids and everything. So if there's any questions.
said that 311 cars was entirely too much. What would be a good or a great turnout?
Right now, in the last probably 5 or 6 years, we've run approximately 260 at the airport. We are thinking this year we are going to try to keep it around 225 to 230 at the very most, because we don't know, this is all new to us, running this way. It runs a lot faster because it's only an 1/8 mile. But the logistics of, they start down that end, they run down, they'll be coming down and going back to into the mill parking through off of Roger. The return road will go back into the back of the mill. And everything that was, it was so much easier to set up at the airport because we had a great staging area and great pits and everything else. But we had to relearn everything this year.
Bill, what's the entry fee for these vehicles to perform?
The vehicle is $100, and that's car and driver. If they have extra, and some of the faster cars have all kinds of people to work on their motors, you know, do whatever. The driver just is a driver in some cases. They pay an extra $20 for every person that they have with their crew. Car and driver is $100. So if we have 200 cars, there's $20,000 that goes into the account. But we also pay out prize money and trophies and stuff like that, which isn't a huge, but to put the event on, I can tell you right now, insurance is close to 10 grand. What we call the sound system, we're looking at 4,000. The porta potties, they're $7,000. BHT, which is the traction compound, is $1,200 a barrel, and we usually go through 4 barrels. And then we mix that with methyl hydrate, which is, we have 20 cans of that, comes in a 5-gallon can compared to, and they mix it half and half before we spray it. And I'm not sure, I think it's about $1,400 for the 20 barrels of that. The overall expenses of running the event are probably $60,000 to $70,000. So the racers, the entry fee, and this is where a lot of people got on us right away and said, hey, you're racing in our streets and we pay taxes on them, so we don't have to pay to come in. We can't have this event if you don't pay to come in. It's the same as the airport. I mean, your taxes paid for you to build that airport, and they're paying for you you're paying for the expansion. But if we can't charge you to watch the event, then, you know, we can't keep doing the event.
Okay, Bill, on the map there,
yes.
Can you show us, and I think that everybody's interested in knowing where the staging areas are, where your firebox is,
okay.
Where people are going to be camped out in their RVs.
I'll go on the big one because it's probably the best. It's marked on that one, but as we go here, this parking lot and this area here, along with the riverfront, is all what we call pit areas, where all the race cars will be pitted in here, in these 3 areas. Along the front of this will be bleachers all the way along there, as well as over in here in some of the areas. We're going to brush underneath these trees and put a canopy sort of in this area and make it like a park-like setting. The cars will come from the pits through Catalyst property here. This will all be fenced so they can only come straight through and all the way inside on the mill to the gate at the far end, just by the railway tracks. If you went by it all, you'll see that they cut the curb out of there and leveled it out for us. They will come out onto here. The burnout box is approximately here. They will do their burnout 70 feet forward to the start line, which is right about there. And when the Christmas tree sits in here, when the Christmas tree comes down, they go. They will be finished right about here. So all this area is shut down. Some of them cars in that 8th mile will be doing 150 miles an hour. So in less than 6 seconds, they can be at that speed. This entrance will be closed off. There will be barriers all down the dotted line here. There will be a lane in the inside if we have to get somewhere in a hurry because somebody's hits it or something, or hits something. Down on the sidewalk side, you'll see that they dug off the grass right out to the curb. And that whole thing right down to here will be barriers. We have to leave this open for a 24/7 for the scats. All of this area across here, 20 feet away from, at least 20 feet away from the railway tracks, will be fenced all the way along to the back to here, and then back out along here because we can't. So all the way down to the Barclay, because we can't have anybody coming out of the bush onto the roadway. So all of that, again, there's an expense of about $4,000, or approximately $4,900, I think, for fencing. All these things all add up, and because people ask, why does it cost so much? Logistically, them are things we wouldn't have had before, but we have to have this year.
Spectator parking.
Spectator parking will be mostly in here, all this area, and we're going to run a shuttle service from up at the multiplex athletic hall area as well.
How long in total will Stand Avenue be closed off?
It'll be closed off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday night, we hope to have everything cleaned up Sunday night, out of the way.
So is Roger Street going to be closed as well?
Roger Street will only be closed on the one side.
Oh.
We'll be able to go through and around,
So just
but you won't be able to come from along Victoria Quay and around and out, because cars will be coming back and around here and back into the back of the mill.
What's the admission fee?
Interesting.
It's $15 a day, or 2 days for $25. We lowered the price because we came into town. It was $20 a day before, and it's been that way for about 6-7 years. So,
Bill, how many are in your society that puts this on? How many people are involved?
right now we have 60 members,
60.
but in most meetings I have less than I see here. It's the same. I think every organization is probably the same. You know, we certainly try to get everybody out, but people just don't show up. One thing you'll see around soon, this is this year's poster. And within, like I say, probably 10 days, we will have the programs. And I have some of the old programs from last year and the year before, if you want to take a look. Also this year is something that we got 5 Acre Productions, who is Lance Goddard. For any that don't know, he's running the dance for us because we don't have enough members to run dance. But Nick Gilder and Sweeney Todd called me and said, hey, we want to come over to your races. So they decided they wanted to come over on that weekend, and so Lance put it all together, and they're holding a dance at Glenwood Center, and with Sweeney Todd, and also Barry Cup Blues Band. And then you've been around here forever, know that Barry Cup Blues Band is.
Maybe one more last question. I know there's a lot of people are involved in the weekend. Can you just name some of the groups that you support during that weekend, or that monies go to?
I can. We have well, for all but 1 year, we've had the wrestling club do the 50-50 for us out there, and they get the proceeds to that, to their organization. They help us do setup and tear down and security. So they make approximately $10,000 a year to the wrestling club. We have the Toy Run, who does the parking for us, and they get paid. We pay them $4,000, which is all money basically donated because they do a job for us. The Alberni Valley Track Club, they get approximately $2,500 for doing the garbage and the recyclables. I'm trying to think who else is in there. There's quite a few different little, the Cancer Society, we give them a check. The Industrial Heritage Society, they do hauling for us, so we give them money. We don't keep, other than stuff that we need to buy. We bought a new computer and new reader boards, and we haven't even had a chance to use them because they came 3 days late last year. So this will be the first year there will actually be reader boards out there, and the reader boards tell you the miles per hour and how fast they go. Just so, and they're full length, 10 feet wide, 3 feet tall, so you'll be able to see them quite clearly. This year we did our own advertising. We went out and about 5 of us that are on the executive. Each year we pay somebody to go do that. And last year I think was, we did about $25,000, and that was with Lordco as a main sponsor of $10,000. So we did about $15,000 and then $10,000 from Lordco. This year, Lordco decided they weren't going to, because last year we got rained out and our reader boards didn't come on time. Things that we couldn't control, they decided not to sponsor us. So we went out on our own and we put together the new program, and we had to add 8 pages to it because it was a huge success. We did $46,000 in advertising dollars into us without a $10,000 Lordco sponsorship. Local people, our 2 big ones, Enix and Hetherington Industries. Just great to see these people on board. And so, you know, we are so happy about that now. This relieves a lot of the pressure of the initial expenses. Our insurance is paid, things like that. So, you know, sometimes we have to wait right till the event to pay insurance rates and stuff like that. So,
Phil, a personal question to you. Succession planning, you've been there 13 years now. Yeah, I know you still have that passion and love for it, but are you looking at passing the torch along to somebody, and is there somebody up there willing to take it?
Ken is retired pretty soon from.
I hear you're retiring from another job, another volunteer job. You know how hard it is, and anybody in organizations know how hard it is in this valley. I love working with all the organizations, but the problem is sometimes when you get up and go to the bathroom, you get a job and you can never get rid of it. I've been there 13 years, and it was only supposed to be actually 1 when we started. Gary Brett did all the mega footwork in the beginning, and it was a vision that we started actually in 1992. Gary, a lot of us had quit by the time this, you know, but Gary kept working and working at it. And he spent the first 2 years as president. And I've asked him if he wants to come back, but he just,
Not that dumb.
he's not done, yeah.
Bill,
More
maybe
questions?
just one last question. When Jeff was introducing you, I must admit I lost track of the number of other groups that you're involved with. So I'm just curious, what do you do with your spare time?
Well, I used to work.
That's a non-answer.
I used to work. I came out of high school and I worked in the forest industry, because the first job I had was planting trees in the Florida Lake area, which they've now relogged. They cut down all the trees I planted. I spent 42 years in that one, and I got a buyout from the Catalyst paper almost it's over 8 years ago. I was just turning 58 and I wanted to get out, and so I took the buyout and retired, and I've been busier ever since, and I love it. And I don't think there's any more organizations I can belong to or help, but thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, on behalf of the club, I'd like to thank you for all the information that you've given us. Pretty stressful job, eh?
Yes,
Eh?
it is right now.
So when those 3 days are finished, you can just sit back and say it was successful, and we're going to move on with that.
Yes.
So, good.
You bet.
Anyway, thank you. A little token of our appreciation.
Thank you very much.